Hi, this is Donna. Welcome to DD Paper Crafts. In today's video, we're going to be making this Octagonal Gatefold Box. This box is 7 inches by 5 inches across and it's 2 inches high. The box idea came from an octagonal pop-up card, which I saw on Pinterest. And then I've basically recreated the card, cut an aperture in the middle, and then adhered it to the top of the box. There are a couple of things which I've learned along the way, which I'm going to tell you about now before you start. The first thing is I have used 250 GSM for this project. Now, whilst 250 GSM is ideal for the box base, in terms of the top element here, it has created some bounce, and as a consequence I do need to make sure that there is a closure which is then going to run from this side over to this side so that this lid stays flat. I do have an alternative solution, and my alternative solution is to cut away the triangles in this point here, but I'm going to leave that until the end of the video. Overall, the box is not tricky to put together, so let's get started. We'll start with the base, and you'll need a piece which is 7 inches by 5 inches. Along the short sides, top and bottom, make a pencil mark at 1.5 and 3.5. On the long sides, make a pencil mark at 1.5 and 5.5, and do the same at the bottom. So the pencil marks are 1.5 inches in from the corner of the cardstock along the top and down the side. We're then going to cut away between the pencil marks, so use your guillotine, your trimmer, scissors, whatever you are going to find easiest. So this is the base, and you should find the top edge is 2 inches, the bottom edge will be 2 inches. You should find the sides are 4 inches and the diagonals are 2 1/8 of an inch. If your measurements are slightly different, you will need to change the measurements of the side strips, which we're going to cut now. For the sides of the box, you'll need 2 pieces, which are 10 3/4 by 2 3/4. Along the long side, score at 4, 6 1/8, 8 1/8, and 10 1/4. And on the short side, score at 1/4 and 2 1/4. And you'll do that twice. We're then going to fold and burnish along all of the score lines. Have your piece so you've got the 1/2 inch tab in front of you, and we'll start by cutting away the left and right hand corner sections. So you'll have a square on one side and a rectangle on the other. And then take a wedge from that tab to create a glue tab, like so. We've got the glue tab on the right hand side and the 1/2 inch tab at the bottom. We're going to cut up each of the score lines up to the 1/2 inch score line, and then take a wedge from the ends of each of those glue tabs. Rotate, and then we're going to cut down the score line within the 1/4 inch tab, like so. This is going to create the ledge on which we're going to adhere our main lid section. We'll now create the box base by adding glue onto the base hinges and adhering it around like so. You might want to add your 2 strips together and then add them on. You might want to create your circuit as a whole and then add it on. There isn't any right or wrong way, so do whatever you feel is going to be easiest for you. The next thing I'm going to do is just go around the top, and I just want to take away the corners so that the tabs are not sitting over each other. We're going to be sticking the top element of the lid on top of this ledge, and I'm just going to shape these straight edges where one's going to sit on top of another. It makes this ledge more flush, as it were. We'll now make the lid element, and I have a piece of cardstock which is 11 by 7. Along the long side, score at 1/2 inch, 3 inches, 8 inches and 10.5 inches. Along the top edge of the cardstock, make a pencil mark at 1.5 on the top edge, 4.5, 6.5 and 9.5. Rotate 180 degrees and repeat 1.5, 4.5, 6.5 and 9.5. And then you want to either take your piece out of the scoreboard or leave it in the scoreboard. Along these two internal score lines here, we want to measure down and mark 1.5 inches from the top edge and 1.5 inches from the bottom edge. So your pencil marks will be 1.5 and 5.5 on this score line here, and then repeat on this score line here. Take your stylus and ruler, and we're going to score from the top pencil mark here across to the pencil mark on the score line, which is at 1.5. So we're going to create a V in the top section. Once we've put our score line in this left-hand section, we're going to repeat in the centre section from this pencil mark across. So we've created a V in the top, and we're going to do that all the way around. So we'll end up with 4 V's which are running either side of these centre score lines. So this is our piece. Fold and burnish along the vertical score lines. The next thing we want to do is fold the diagonals so that they are valley folds, and this central section is going to be a mountain fold. So this section is going to come in like so, and this section is going to come forward like so. So these two sides will end up creating this shape. So you want to do that with all 4 of the triangles. So you can see how that's coming together. So this is effectively our lid for our box, but obviously what we need to do is cut an aperture. So I'm going to lay it back down flat. To mark the aperture, I've cut myself a scrap piece of cardstock, and this is 1/2 inch wide. You want it to be ideally longer than 4 inches, but the most important thing is the width. And all I'm going to do is lay the cardstock on the score lines, so on this centre score line here, and we're concentrating in this centre section. And I'm merely going to draw a pencil line from just under the score line. I'm going to draw a pencil line across like so. So I've got this 1/2 inch edge. So I'm going to do that all the way around this centre section. So again, line the edge of my strip up with the score line. If you want to lift the piece up to make sure it's sitting, and I'm going to cross this pencil line and come down like so. So this is marked, and now I'm going to cut the internal section away with my craft knife. I'm going to just get rid of the pencil marks and also get rid of any of the pencil marks along the top edge. This is how far I've got along, but I've just realised an error. Within these 1/2 inch tabs on the end, measure down 5/8 of an inch, just to be certain. So I'm going to mark 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8 of an inch, measure down 5/8 of an inch. And I'm going to cut along the score line to the pencil mark, and then I'm going to cut up, so I'm removing that top section and the bottom section, so I'm shortening the lid flap. So I need to do the same on this one, and now the lid will sit on the top like so, and the lid flaps will be able to come in and sit down in between the aperture. If you fold it over, you can see there that's now going to fit in between the gap. So using whatever is your chosen method of adhesion, and you want to use quite a strong glue for this, I'm going to use construction glue, add it all the way around. So let's take this piece, I'm going to sit that on. Obviously the outside edges are going to line up all the way around, so concentrate on that. So we need to let that dry, and then the top will fold in like so, and the lid is going to slot down in the top like so, and then it's just a case of decoration. Here's the finished project, which is slightly different to the project which is in the introduction. I'll give you the sizes of the patterned paper I've used. The top piece, I created a template starting with a sheet of 7 by 5 inch copier paper. I made a pencil mark on the top left at 1.5, top right 1.5, and then 1.5 in each of the corners. Cut between the pencil lines, and then put it in my trimmer and cut away a 1/16 of an inch on all of the edges. If you prefer the 1/4 of an inch look, then cut an 1/8 of an inch away. I've added patterned paper onto all of the sides. So I had 4 squares which were 2 inches below 1 7/8, or you may prefer the more traditional 1 7/8 by 1 3/4. 2 squares which were 1 7/8 by 1 7/8, or you may prefer 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. And 2 pieces which were 3 7/8 by 1 7/8, or you may prefer 3 3/4 by 1 3/4. In addition to the piece at the beginning, I've added a band on, is just adhered to the sides, and this has got Velcro. It's just an added element to secure the box, and then the box opens. Now, I did say at the beginning that I felt that I'd used the wrong weight cardstock, and that I had a means in order to rectify that, and I have rectified that by removing the triangles. So once the box was completed, I wasn't entirely happy, so I've actually cut all the triangles away. So if you do get to the end and you do feel that something's just quite right, or indeed you may prefer the look without the triangles, so you could cut away the triangles right at the beginning. And then, as I say, the box closes like so. So there we have today's project. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. And until next time, thanks for watching.